Welcome to a game between Hedkeaf here in red, starting with Amphot and an engineer commander. And he's going against lostconnector with Cloak Boss, also an engineer commander. And lostconnector requested this replay analysis on Fairylands. So he felt he was close to winning, but then he kinda got behind, so let's see how he does it. At the beginning of the game, I usually recommend focusing on get your mexes up as fast as possible. You want those 2 mexes built as fast as possible, so I recommend putting your commander on high priority as it builds the initial metal extractors and wind generators. This wind map has good wind, 0.8 minimum up here is very good. Even 0.4 down here is pretty good. But yeah, you can go for a wind generator for the overdrive if you wanna feel safer. And I also recommend to put your expanding cons on high priority. Alternatively, you could put your factory on low priority. You also made 2 glaives that are just not doing anything. Like this glaive could be up here and preventing this conch from expanding until this duck comes. A duck should win 1 versus 1 against a glaive, but still. If you're building 2 glaives on this map, yeah, there are like 2 paths you can go, like here and here. Usually the commander will take 1 path down there and expand. And a con on the other. But yeah, you want to scout there and try to get in some kill and want to see what factor the enemy is, so you could have slowed down this expansion just by sending your glaiver. Even if you don't kill the conch, you will prevent him from building here and force him to have raiders here. So yeah, that's a wasted opportunity. Meanwhile, you're a little bit behind in expansion since you didn't have your commander on high priority. And you choose to go for a Reaver. That's pretty good. It can be pretty good in this matchup. Glaives can suffer a bit against ducks. Yeah. And in this case, if you actually manage to surprise your enemy, you might get some free kills. Yeah, you get 2 ducks here. That's nice. The Conjurer drains -10 energy, which is in most cases a big issue. But on a good wind map like this, it's not as big as an issue as winds are so strong on this map. So yeah, going for cloak bots and heavy energy drain abilities is better on maps where you have cheap wind that is effective. So yeah, you're being quite defensive here, and that's alright on this map. It's kind of hard. It's only like 2 entrances to the base that you can raid. So it can be hard to break into this position if the enemy knows what they're doing. So yeah, it's hard to raid on this map. But you kind of want to try to prevent the enemy from getting these expansions. Meanwhile, yeah, this is a long path and you're not taking these mexes. So you're already behind on metal income and metal produce by a little bit. Yeah, excuse me for a second. So yeah, you're already behind on metal income, so to speak. Meanwhile, yeah, what unit combo? The ducks are kind of hard to fight for cloak bots usually. You lose your conjurer there, not a big deal. Also trying to raid there, but you're also getting this long conjurer that is on tip here. You also lost that, so yeah, that's a few big losses there. Like, you could have been expanding more safely here. You have these 2 mexes that I don't think you take on the whole game, so that's, yeah, you should have expanded there, made a Lotus turret there, and it should have been pretty safe. Meanwhile, this Reaver is managing to get some value here, I think. Yeah, killing another conch and limpet, because Hedkeaf is not paying full attention here. So you're gonna get some mexes. You lost this a little attack, so that's, yeah, that wasn't too good. But yeah, if the enemy isn't responding properly, a Reaver can do a lot of damage. And you get 2 mexes and yeah, a few units there, so yeah. A good unit combo in this matchup is usually Ronins and Reavers. The Reavers can prevent the ducks from closing in, and Ronins are pretty fast and they can outrange, like the outrange ducks and the archers, and they're pretty fast. They outrange scallops and they can skirmish pretty well against boy that misses a lot, and they skirmish pretty well against bulkheads. Yeah, so Ronins are pretty good in this matchup, and you can support them with Reavers or what you call them, glaives. So yeah, but if they're quite alone like this, they will struggle to get away from the ducks. But yeah, you get some expansion in here, where you some expansion killing here, so that's nice. Yeah, you kill 2 ducks and lose 2 Ronins, not too bad. Meanwhile, the enemy is trying to raid you, but you, instead of defending here with the glaze, you're going to kill this expansion. It's a bit risky. Yeah, so now your commander has to go back here anyway. Maybe. Yeah, so glaives, they kind of struggle against ducks. They are two-shotted by the ducks, and the ducks outrange them. So if the ducks can like skirmish against a glaive, they do it. But luckily for you, Hedkeaf isn't using. He's not using what you call it. He's not using fight commands, so his ducks aren't kiting optimally. So yeah, you get a decent raid in here. And you look at value kill, yeah, you got a bit ahead on that. That's because I think Hedkeaf should have been using his fight command or like attack move, and his ducks would have kited automatically, which is usually better. And you managed to get his Stardust just as it's getting up, so yeah, that's pretty nice. And maybe Mix too. Yeah, that's nice. But yeah, you still haven't taken these mexes, and you still don't have a calm retaking that mex and retaking those mexes. So yeah, on this map you probably want to go for some extra economy, make some wind generators like wind lines here, so you can make some wind and draw down and overdrive these mexes. Oops, sorry. Yeah, you get the sneaky conch there, that's nice. And yeah, the enemy is not really responding to your Reavers, so yeah, Reavers does pretty decently against ducks unless they get overwhelmed. But yeah, 3 Reavers in a line is gonna, yeah, ducks are gonna struggle to overwhelm that. And now he's finally making boys to counter them. Like, boys are a good counter to Reavers. Here you can see that if the ducks get to overwhelm a Reaver, they can really you can really burst it down. But yeah, your glaives get in close, and when they get in close they can deal damage when the ducks aren't skirmishing, and the Reavers coming in from behind here. Yeah. But it looks like now you're running kind of thin on units, and your units are just getting surrounded and pounded. So yeah, that attack didn't turn out, it was... Now you're kind of running out of steam, you only have a few glaives running here, and the glaives are easily going to get bursted down by ducks without doing much damage, so yeah, you should really be calling off this attack and not sending in units single file to this attack. Yeah, so now you're losing units unnecessarily, barely killing anything, because yeah, ducks are pretty good against glaives unless you get in close range and can overwhelm them. Yeah, and you're choosing to go for Lotusers up here. That's a decent choice. This is a little elevated piece of land, so yeah, the boys won't get as much range when they're fighting uphill here. So yeah, it's a decent choice to build them on the high ground. But yeah, the enemy is also making bulkheads, which is really good against light pork, so it can be pretty hard to push a amp players, because both boys and bulkheads are pretty good against light pork, so yeah, it can be so hard to push with just that. And you're finally getting this expansion, so that's good. And you're getting this expansion too, that's good. But yeah, you could have also been making some few more wins here, and you're getting this expansion, so that's good. Yeah. So yeah, you could have been overriding quite a bit more up here if you just made a line of wind down there. So yeah, I would recommend that. Also, these could have been winds instead of solars on the hill here. And you can see here that Stinger is kind of struggling against. You don't have any supporting units supporting the Stinger right now, because the glaives are up here right now and killing the defenses. If you had been a bit earlier with your glaives, you would have easily overwhelmed this position and killed and not have lost the Stinger. But yeah, you have no Lotus turret here, so the enemy easily raids this position, and you also have no radar on this position. So yeah, you don't know when enemy's coming. And yeah. And the enemies just running into your glaives, and then the glaives can deal with the ducks fairly effectively when the enemies just running into the glaives. But yeah, if the ducks are skirmishing and using like auto-kiting and stuff, yeah, they are gonna struggle to... glaives are gonna struggle to deal with them. But yeah, you lose all the units, and it was... exchange was pretty even. But yeah, you can see that you're falling behind the enemy, because the enemy still has more economy than you have. The enemy has been producing more metal throughout this whole game, so yeah. At least you haven't excess metal like your opponent has. Yeah, getting these geothermals is pretty good. It's usually pretty safe to have up here. Getting some defense like these. I mean, this is pretty good if you're facing ducks, because glaives struggle to chase down ducks. So if you have some Lotus turrets, you can reinforce. If the enemy tries to go for your Lotus turret, they will take damage, and if they choose to retreat, they still took some damage if you come with your glaive and chase them away. So yeah, having some Lotus turrets like this is fine on this map, especially against in a matchup like this when you have when I use glaives against ducks. Yeah, then it's pretty good. So you're choosing to go for a sniper here. The sniper doesn't have any good targets. The best target is probably the boys. I'm not sure what you're gonna do with the sniper here in this position. Yeah. I would suggest building more Ronins, really. They're pretty good against ducks. Well, they're decent against ducks, as long as they don't get overrun by them. But if you're standing next to defense like this position, if you would have Ronins here, they would do really well against this, skirmishing against these units. They do well skirmishing against boys, really. And your defenses chase off these ducks. Something if you have you can try to use is imps. They're pretty good against ducks. Like if the ducks bunch up like this, if they're in a bunch up like this or coming into attack position like this, you can put an imp or two in front of a position like this and hope that the enemy groups up their unit and runs into the imps and then gets stunned. And here you lose your commander because, yeah, this switch to... You made so many... You made 10 Reavers. That's 2,100 metal. That's just slowly creeping towards this position. And if you're in a forward position like this, yeah, going for Reavers... Oh, you're lucky not to lose a Phantom there. Yeah, so going for Reavers was really the bad choice here, because a Reaver is just 55 speed versus a Ronin's that's 84 when it's not shooting. So yeah, if you had reinforced this position with Ronins and maybe 1 or 2 Reavers, yeah, then you would have been able to hold this position. But now the enemy could just overwhelm you here because your Reavers took so long to get there. And the enemy is being careless with your commander, so you have the sniper there, and you actually managed to kill the commander. So that's a nice, that's nice for you at least. Kind of lucky that the enemy wasn't paying attention to your commander, because yeah, a commander shouldn't really lose to 2 Reavers unless if they're just trying to run away. The commander has a bit longer range, so it can sort of kite the Reaver for a bit before the Reaver gets in range. But yeah, this armor composition that Hedkeaf is going for, yeah, it's very well countered by Ronins and a few Reavers. Potentially even just pure glaives, but it can be risky to go for glaives if the enemy is using limpets, because the limpets, they slow you down a lot. So yeah. But yeah, this is too few units to run against these units, so yeah, they're gonna die eventually, but they're gonna skirmish for a bit. But there are some ducks there to help kill the glaives as well. So yeah, this combination that enemy is going for is decent. Boys, ducks, and a few limpets to slow down Ronins and glaives that try to counter them. And bulkheads that are kind of tanky and hard to kill. But it should be decently countered by Ronins, almost pure Ronin. Just need to make sure you don't get overrun by ducks. Yeah, so now you have too few, your army value is too low and your glaives go in, they get slowed by the limpet, and then they die. And now you run in with a few Reavers and they die, because you have your army is too small, you can't send in your... You need to regroup and send your army to regroup, and yeah, stuff like that. But at this point you're quite far behind. Yeah. You were even in army value at some points. Yeah, but yeah. At least your sniper hasn't been killed yet, so yeah, it's getting value. But yeah, if the enemy's running on with ducks, it can be hard to keep a phantom alive. Unless you hide it behind the Reavers or something. Yeah. So if we look at energy income, we can see that the enemy overhead during the game overriding 5,000 value, which is like decent. If you had just made a few more wins connecting these things, this mech was unconnected all the game, you would have gotten some more economy value, I think. But yeah, now the enemy is overwhelming you with their better economy and bigger army. Yeah. So there. So what will my tips be? You should try to expand more quickly. One way to expand more quickly, you can see that you fell behind the metal produce quite early, is that you put your commander high priority, so it finishes the initial economy faster, and so it can go to make more mixes out on this ground down here faster. And then you also can put your expanding cons on high priority, so you make your mexes faster and even your defenses faster if you want to take a position. And this position you were very late to take the position. Instead you try to go up here. It's a bit risky if you get away with it. I mean, you have a cloak con, so the enemy might not see the con, not see you go in there. It can work, but on the other hand you can just grab this first and then go there and build a lotus turret there to keep it safe. Instead you lost this position to like I think it was just one duck or something, yeah. And then yeah, and you had the initial glaive here, like you could have run up here and at least check what the enemy was doing, and the enemy didn't, at that point the enemy didn't have anything here, and you would have slowed down their expansion. Even if you don't kill the con, just making it stop and having to go back gives you time, or maybe you could kill one mech and then retreated, or killed one mech and then lost your glaive to the duck, but that's still fine. That's still worth it. So yeah, think a bit more about the expansion pattern, like you went like something like this and then here. And against amphots, it's a little bit risky to try to go this close to the enemy, because boys and bulkers are pretty good against light pork, and it can be hard to hold a position like this. And yeah, your unit composition, you made a lot of glaives, and you made glaives work pretty well. You stayed pretty even on value killed throughout the game, so you made the glaives work. You were even ahead quite a bit of the time. So yeah, you did well with the glaives. But that was mostly due to Hedkeaf not using fight command, and so his attack moves, so his units wouldn't it didn't kite automatically skirmish with his ducks. If you had done that, you would have done worse with your glaives. But yeah, you did well with your glaives. I suggest going for more Ronins in this matchup, because Ronins are pretty good against the whole Amphot factory. They're not really bad against anything. Like, even against ducks, Ronins are kind of fast, and if they just have some Lotus turrets to run back to, or some Reavers, yeah, the enemy's not gonna catch them quickly, and they're gonna take losses, even with ducks. So yeah, Ronins are pretty good against the whole Amphot factories. You just gotta avoid getting overrun by ducks and slowed by limpets, and you'll be golden with just spamming Ronins and a few Reavers maybe, and glaives are fine as well if you want to protect your Ronins. It requires a bit more micro, but you seem to be able to do it. And yeah, and that's my suggestion for you. Yeah, and make sure like you had good armor value, but then you just ran into the enemy, and then you just kept losing your armor value. Like you did good you did decent initially. Well, not too, and then you just ran your units single file into the enemy at this point. So yeah, be a little bit more careful with that to take care of your units. Good luck and have fun.